Close the door.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Patriots 3, Life, Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness. And here's your hosts, Tim and Matt. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm doing great. How are you, sir?
Doing all right. Been some lovely weather over here in my wonderful state in the Midwest.
What you got?
Oh, we got some 80s, but we also have thunderstorms.
We've got very cool weather in the low 60s, actually.
Wow, nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about Memorial Day mishaps, taxes on gun rights, money over the Constitution. That's a really important one we're going to be just hammering down on tonight, and definitely a lot more because a couple hours ago, Matt and myself were talking about a lot. So definitely more for future dates, that's for sure. This coming Thursday, ladies especially, I want you to all tune in, as well as gentlemen. We're calling this Thursday show Vanity versus Health. And I have a wonderful guest and going to be talking about from pharmaceutical industry to holistic health and a lot more. So definitely join in on this coming Thursday for that. I was just on the phone with my next guest. Wonderful guest, and you'll appreciate her input on a lot of things that she's been through and a lot of trial and error. So a quick reminder to the audience, go ahead and like, share, and follow at Tim Holliday TV. That's TimHolliday TV. We are on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, and this will be later put out onto iHeart, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. The show is not sponsored by anyone. I definitely want to give a shout out to, I forgot to plug in a wonderful little graphic here. Let me plug that in really quick here. Kimberly Overton, one of my friends. She's part of Remnant Healthcare. So just a shout out to Kimberly, remnanthealthcare.org. And I'm actually digging for that graphic and I can't find it. Anyways, that was one thing I forgot. I might have clicked on the wrong button here. There we are. Kimberly. So established by God, sustained by his grace, Remnant Healthcare. So visit remnanthealthcare.org, find out more information on, how to, definitely take your health back. That's my own little slogan I'm giving to her, but I'm not copywriting anything and it's not of my own or hers, but definitely, visit remnanthealthcare.org, find out more information. All right. So let's get on with some things. We got a lot. So the mishaps on Memorial Day.
And it seems to be a yearly occurrence and nobody ever learns from it. It's really annoying. First thing I saw was Trump's post from what I like to call Trump Social. All right. And to put, pure freaking Trump here, he says happy Memorial Day to all, including the Democrats who disrespect our military and all the tremendous success that it has done over the last year. God bless those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. I love you all, President Trump. And I saw that and I'm like, you're a fucking dick. Pardon my French.
That's all right.
You have to make this, about yourself or, so in some way you have to make this about yourself or your opposition or somebody you don't like. And everybody got on the Democrats' case for their tweet, which they actually deleted, to their credit at least, where they put up a graphic of all the servicemen and women who've died so far in this war with Iran.
Yeah.
And they go, happy Memorial Day. We honor those that, we honor the American heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice in Trump's war with Iran. They did the exact same thing as Trump did. They made it political. They had to have taken a dig at Trump, just like Trump had to take a dig at them.
Right.
And I will give the Democrats credit on this. They deleted that post. They knew they were wrong. They knew that they were wrong. And they knew, probably like I did, that Trump would not delete his post, because I don't know if he did or not, but I think it's still up there.
I believe it is.
Yeah, so everybody got on the Democrats, myself included, as they should, for trivializing, politicizing, and using our fallen service members as a fucking pawn in their little pissing match with Trump. But Trump did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And again, we talk about principles, right? We talk about Constitution. We talk about mainly we've talked about principles so far.
Yeah.
You have to hold yourself accountable. I keep telling people,
Yeah.
you cannot win elections if you don't hold yourselves accountable. If you keep idolizing and following a leader and blindly, and you don't criticize, you don't say, oh no, it's fine, it's fine, don't worry, he'll make it up this way, he'll make it up this way, he'll do this, he'll do that, he'll do this. No, what example are we teaching ourselves for our future leadership? It's like, come on, dude, you can't. It's pathetic. It really is. It's pathetic. It's pathetic and it's childish, and they're both doing it. Yet, I tend to see only one side get mad at the other, and not both sides get mad at each other for doing it.
Right. I mean, the day is supposed to be about the memory of our soldiers that has kept this country up. And if people can't respect that and trying to use it as a political ladder in any sort of way, that is absolutely disgusting. I'm just going to put it like that.
No, you absolutely. It really is, because, again, we don't have a draft. People voluntarily joined the military, and I'll find it for next week if you want. I just thought of this now. I should have brought it up.
Oops.
There was an essay that was written by a former Army Ranger. He was a captain, went to West Point, and it's called the 0.45%.
Okay.
And I can't remember his name, but the essay was very well written, and I think he wrote it in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But he gets to like 9/11, post 9/11. Okay, so I enlisted in 1999 when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I went to boot camp in 2000. So I joined pre 9/11. Okay, but I served post 9/11 as well, because I started my active duty in 2000 and went to 2005.
Yeah.
So the purpose of that article was to say that obviously people, there was a draft in Vietnam, there was a draft in World War II. People did volunteer in World War II. People did volunteer in Vietnam, albeit, smaller numbers of them.
Yeah.
But this was 20 years of a two-front war where everybody was a volunteer. And everybody who volunteered, especially in a combat arms, knew for a fact that the chances of them going into a combat zone were over 80%.
Wow.
That they were actively signing up and they were risking their lives.
Wow.
And it was 0.45% of the population that did it. And during the war on terrorism, there was no sacrifice. I'll use that in quotes. There was no sacrifice in the United States. There was no rationing like there was in World War II. There was no, hey, we can't make things out of metal because we need that for the war effort. There was no sacrifice at home. People went about their days like normal, like nothing was going on, like everything was right in the world, unless your family member was serving in the military. And unless they were deployed and you were actively scared shitless that you were going to get a knock in the middle of the night saying that your son or daughter has been killed. And that should tell the American people something about the American warfighter. And Memorial Day is a day to memorialize and honor those who didn't make it back and the people that are still listed as missing in action.
Yeah.
And politicians, I swear to God, they always try and find a way to make it about themselves or a cause or something like that. And it boils my blood because
I get it. And there's actually a comment that was left. I didn't put it up because I didn't notice it in time, but you were congratulated on your French, as I sounded like English to me.
yeah, well played. Yeah. It just Trump needs to stop doing it. The Democrats need to stop doing it. Can we just please honor our service members without any kind of political aim, without any, just like, hey, happy Memorial Day. And to all the conservatives out there, and I put up a post in a Facebook group that a couple years ago, I was at I told you I went to CPAC to cover CPAC for Red State, and I made a pilgrimage to Arlington, and I have a brother of mine that's buried there, and I posted a picture of me at his. I didn't put myself in it, but it was I put a quarter on his headstone.
Yes.
And I said, like, hey, I don't celebrate Memorial Day. I mourn those that have fallen. I mourn those hundreds of thousands of Americans who've laid down their lives for America's battles and those who are still missing. It wasn't meant to shame anybody. It wasn't meant to put anybody down.
Right.
But some people just found a way, like one person commented, like, as it should be, you're un-American if you say Happy Memorial Day. And I'm like, no, I don't subscribe to that. Because here's the thing. Because and this is not a shot at the average American. This is not a shot at, and this is not an insult. I say this just as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
The average American has been so far removed from military service that they are untouched by war, unless they have a family member, a son, a daughter, an uncle, whatever, who has served and who has been killed.
Yeah.
And they hold Memorial Day in a different light.
Right.
Because they've been affected, they've been touched by war. But the average American hasn't been touched by war. And that's okay. That's not a problem. And when they say Happy Memorial Day, they're coming from a place of ignorance, but it's not willful ignorance. It's not negative ignorance. It's just they just don't know. And so that when they see a service member, they go, hey, Happy Memorial Day. And they mean it from a very good place. And I don't get mad at anybody who says Happy Memorial Day to me. Right. If I know them very well, I say, like, hey, I appreciate it, but I'm a veteran. Thank those that have died. Save that for Veterans Day. And they're like, oh, cool. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, hey, I know you didn't know what to say. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But to the average person who I don't even know, if they say Happy Memorial Day to me, I say back, hey, thanks. Happy Memorial Day to you too.
Yeah.
Because why am I there to scold them? Why am I there to? They meant well.
Yeah. So I want to put up a picture really quick on why you place the quarter and what coins on top of headstones mean. So let me find that image really quick. That was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I thought of. I'm like, let me find that really quick and let's get this up there so the audience knows. And I didn't know this until a couple of years ago. The meaning of coins on a headstone. A penny means you stopped by and paid your respects. A nickel, you attained boot camp with them. A dime, you served in the armed forces with them. A quarter, you were with the soldier when they were killed. Wow. Sorry to hear, brother. Oh, your audio's cut up a little bit.
No, I didn't say anything.
There you are. Okay. You look like a mime then. Okay.
No, I wasn't saying anything. It's, like I said, Memorial Day is a day that we can just forgive each other's transgressions for once.
Yes.
If you know the person, you can educate them in a polite way. But please know that the average American, when they say Happy Memorial Day, they come from a good place. Yeah. They come from a good place in their heart. They respect you. They want to honor you. They just don't know how. And that's fine.
Right.
Totally fine.
I've been chewed out for calling somebody a sir before. And I'm like, don't call me sir. I work for a living.
Yeah. It's like, It is what it is. It
Yeah.
is what it is. There's a gentleman, I think I've mentioned him before, I may not. Sebastian Younger. He's a combat correspondent. Um, he was embedded with the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan before we invaded. He's made several embeds with the American Armed Forces in Afghanistan and Iraq. He's a really good guy, great author. Um, he does TED Talks too, and it's about one of his books. And I can't remember the name. I'll bring it next time. But basically, he equated it's like the average American, our culture prevents us from the rate. Like he was talking about the rates of PTSD and everything like that. He's like the rates of PTSD. Um, he gives a personal example. So when he got back from Afghanistan, when he was with the Northern Alliance, he was in New York. It was after 9/11, I think, or just before, just after 9/11.
Yeah.
And he was in the subway. And he had a panic attack, just straight panic attack. Like he thought, bombs were going off. Like he was having like a flashback. He didn't realize, but he had PTSD. And so they did a study of rates of PTSD of veterans and everything like that post 9/11 in New York City.
Wow.
And the rates of PTSD went down. They plummeted.
Wow.
And he said, and this is a perfect example, is because everybody experienced that trauma together. So everybody's linked in, everybody's common, everybody shared that experience, and so they know exactly what you're going through. And so people's rates of PTSD went down. And the same thing applied to his study for Israelis and American Indians. He's like, American Indians and Israelis both, they share the same culture, like because in Israel they're constantly attacked, or everybody serves in the military, it's compulsory, all that stuff like that. So the rates of PTSD actually go down because they have a warrior culture. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows what you've experienced in some kind of way, some kind of fashion. We don't have that in America. We are completely disassociated from it.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a complaint. It's not a disrespectful. It's just a matter of fact. You know what I mean? The average American is just not touched by war. And so the rates of PTSD for veterans, even people who never served in combat, PTSD goes up. And we're probably going off the handles.
That's all right.
Hijacked the conversation, but
my dad always held this thing about not being able to join when his cousin was able to join. This is the Vietnam War, because my dad had asthma and flat feet. So he always had that
Right.
little regret, because he wasn't able to. So there's
that was the thing in World War II. There was hundreds, if not thousands, of guys who could not serve and committed suicide because they couldn't do it out of shame.
So
out of pure shame.
Really quick, he's mentioned something at the beginning of this little portion about no draft. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we say about the draft dodgers?
What do you mean? What do we say about them, or like what do we say to
Yeah,
them?
yes. Like for instance, I believe Clinton was a draft dodger. Bill Clinton, for that matter.
You know what? So is Trump.
True.
Here's another thing too, though. So when it comes to the term draft dodging,
yeah,
there is a misappropriation of that term. And what I mean by that is draft dodging used to be applied to people who got their draft notices, burned it, and actively evaded the draft.
Yeah.
But now, especially conservatives and liberals alike, we tend to say, hey, if you didn't serve in Vietnam because of medical deferments, oh, he's a draft dodger. So Bill Clinton got medical deferment. Same thing as Trump. Trump got a medical deferment 7 times, I think. Do I hold that against him? No, no, I don't. You got a medical deferment.
Yeah.
Like, look.
Just like I was saying about my dad. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, when it comes to draft dodging, if you're one of the people who like burn their draft cards and fled the country, moved to Canada to avoid the draft, like, all right, if you can explain the circumstances as to why you decided to do that, let's have that discussion, let's have that conversation. I won't judge you right off the bat, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of conservatives and constitutionalists and libertarians who want to eliminate the draft. They think it's compulsory military service is unconstitutional. It goes against because I don't know if you're aware, but there are legal ramifications if you fail to register for the draft. You can go to federal prison. If the government so decides that they want to go after you, you can be convicted of a federal felony, which means that you can lose your rights to own a gun, rights to vote. You lose your rights to, or not rights, but you lose the ability to obtain student loans. There are serious consequences to not, signing up for the draft. They've never done that, as far as I know. Well, in the last 30, 40 years, they haven't done that. But or at least they haven't done that they haven't gone after anybody who's failed to register for the draft. They've gone after draft dodgers, but they haven't gone after anybody who's failed to register for the draft. So there's
I
people
made sure to
calling for
register.
I think I registered when I was 16. I want to say I got a notice and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I'm going to register because I'm going to join the military as soon as I can. But yeah, I tend to think from a societal standpoint, I think that Americans would benefit from compulsory military service. Again, that goes against libertarian principles and constitutional principles and everything like that. But I think it would do a lot of people good. 2 years, serve 2 years in any job capacity that you want. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily. I'm not advocating for it, but I think it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, I believe the country of France used to do that. I'm not sure if they still do it, but and everybody benefited from that as well. You got training there in the military, and I think it was a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, we got a comment here. Let's see. I got in a little late. I pray Matt was not upset with President Trump. I felt President Trump was wonderful and very heartfelt in his speaking regarding those who gave their lives, etc. Sorry for sounding like William Shatner. I'm having a hard time seeing from 5 feet away. I'm visually impaired. I'm visually impaired to let you all know. I was legally blind.
Okay, so put that Trump graphic back on. Let me say again, he might not have seen this because he might have come in a little late from what he said.
Yeah, let me put that up again really quick.
I was upset with Trump. I was upset because again, honoring the fallen should just come with honoring the fallen, not disrespecting another group of Americans because you think they disrespect our military. I happen to think the Democratic Party, like most Democrats, don't disrespect our military. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. A lot of Democratic politicians do. I will give them that. But again, if you're trying to honor the America's fallens, don't put a prerequisite on it. Don't put another group of people down and say like they disrespect our military, because you are disrespecting the military by doing that. You are disrespecting the American fallen, and some of them weren't even American citizens at the time.
Right.
They were just immigrants, whatever. You are disrespecting everybody who laid down their lives and is still listed as missing in action if you include a disrespectful shot at somebody else or another group of people who you think disrespects the military. That in and of itself is disrespectful. Yes, I am upset at Trump for doing that.
And again, both parties are guilty.
Yeah, I'm just upset at Trump for doing that as I am that the Democrats did that. And again, to the person who commented, I think they came in a little late. Maybe they didn't see these things. Yeah. The Democrats, again, they deleted that post. They deleted that tweet or X post. It's gone.
Yeah.
Trump's post is still up on Trump Social. Still there. It's disrespectful. It is. And he has said he has said some disrespectful things in an attempt to pay respect to the military. He's done that in the past.
So I went ahead and I dropped the Truth Social link into the comments, and I'll update the show description on the Rumble and the other social media platforms. So another thing that's really disrespectful, and taxes on gun rights. That's disrespectful for all U.S. citizens, I'll put it that way, and our Second Amendment rights, because we have the right to bear arms, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to put up a little tweet right here. And so Matt, emphasize a little bit more on this. A new docket entry distributed for conference 5/28/2026 has been added to Virginia Duncan, attorney at law, petitioners versus Rob Bonta, Attorney General of California.
So I believe that's just one case, maybe two cases. So the way the Supreme Court works, we've talked about this before. There's 5 gun control cases right now sitting in front of the Supreme Court, waiting for them to review it and either decline to hear the case or accept the case to be heard and all that stuff like that. 2 of those cases are from California, hence Rob Bonta's name on there. So we talked about this, I think, on our first episode, where we talked about the Supreme Court's getting, they're afraid to hear gun cases, whatever. These cases, these 5 cases, have been relisted for conference. I forgot how many times, but I think it's over 15 times. This current session for the court. There's only, I believe, 30 days left in their current session, so they have to decide here and now whether they're going to take them or not. So what he's saying is they've relisted these cases for conference for tomorrow, and we may get a decision, we may not, we probably won't, whether they're going to hear it or not. I have a feeling that the court today has refused to hear a case out of Florida when it comes to redistricting, I think.
Oh.
I can't remember. But Justice Thomas and Alito were pissed. They're like, we absolutely should have heard this case. That Florida has no recourse whatsoever. The only place to hear this case is the Supreme Court, and they refuse to hear it. Wow. Now, if they did that, I don't have any. I'm not hopeful.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit more disrespect. There's another tweet or X post. No one likes taxes, but I got to say that this excise tax on guns and ammo causes me no heartburn. It was requested by hunters and gun owners, and the money is what funds wildlife hunting, conservation, as well as public shooting ranges. I'm good with that. I don't know if I'm good with that. Let's say
I'm definitely not good with that. Definitely not good with that. That guy's a FUD. What we refer to gun owners who go with gun control and everything like that. His post is factually inaccurate. So let's just say this. In California, because this is what he's talking about, California, we have an excise tax on guns and ammo. It's an 11% tax in addition to sales tax, in addition to the price, on top of everything. It was passed as a sin tax, a penalty tax. That tax revenue does not go to conservation at all. It goes to gun control agenda. It goes to pure gun control agenda. That has nothing to do with conservation. The only money that goes to conservation is paid when you get your hunting license and your fishing license. That goes to conservation. The excise tax in California goes to gun control. Plain and simple. So that guy who posted that is a fucking idiot. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. You don't see Democrats or you don't see Republicans putting a poll tax, because last time I checked, it's a constitutional right to vote. I have a right to vote, just like I have a right to buy a gun.
Yeah.
You don't put an excise tax on the media. You don't put an excise tax on the poll. When you go to vote, why should I have an excise tax on my guns? Because here's another thing, and this is where Democrats are totally hypocritical when it comes to this. They claim to be about the working man. They claim to be about the lower class and everything like that. They are purposely avoiding this conversation because this excise tax makes owning a gun and carrying a gun pretty much a non-option for those in a lower class because they can't afford it anymore. They just can't.
Yeah. Fun little comment there. There you go. Speaking French again.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. I'll just have to check a little box. Life is good. Yeah. There too.
Yeah, that's all I got on that.
Yeah, she likes the way you speak your French. It's wonderful. Um, so this next segment here, we might go over the hour mark of this show. Um, we have a lot to
Yeah.
talk about, but what I want people to do is step away from the politics, the left right garbage, because that's what it is, out of all honesty. Once you're able to step back, you're able to see a lot more clear on this stuff we're going to be talking about right now. So, foreign influence on our politics. I'll just say it like that. What is APAC, Matt?
I forget what it stands for. It's the American political. It's a political action committee for American Israelis or
Okay.
For American Israeli interests. I
Okay.
really can't remember. And you know, it's funny because it was mainly the Democrats who were opposed to APAC for the longest time because they're like, oh, you know, the Democrats have a very well established record for being anti-Israeli interests.
Yeah.
They go after anybody who's taking money from APAC, you know, like boom, 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 boom. But now APAC went in and successfully unseated Thomas Massie, and they bragged about it on X. Bragged about it, proud of it. Yep, we helped elect, you know, Ed. I can't. Yeah,
So
congratulations.
the tweet says, "Congratulations to U.S. Navy SEAL Ed Galrain for defeating the anti-Israel incumbent Thomas Massie. Pro-Israel
Right,
Americans are proud to back candidates who support strong alliance to help defeat those who work to undermine it. Being pro-Israel is good policy and good politics," is what the tweet says, and I'll drop that
and
link.
yeah, and they openly admitted it. They openly admitted it. Yep, we absolutely bought that election. I mean, Ed, I think got 20 million total from APAC, or you know, in donations total when it comes to that, and it's like there's two main players when it comes to foreign influence and foreign financial influence in our elections. It's Israel and China.
Yeah.
And you know, you and I were talking about this earlier. Israel is, you know, this last year, they have shown that they are really, truly not our friends. And let me be very clear to everybody watching, everybody listening. I am not anti-Israel.
Same.
They should absolutely exist. They should absolutely defend themselves. If they want to defend themselves how they see fit, God bless. I want
Ex-
nothing to do with it. I don't want to
So,
pay for it. Go
so
ahead.
just for the record, and I can probably speak for Matt as well, I'm not anti-Semite, nor do I hate any person or culture. I judge a person by their character.
Yeah, and you know, again, when we say when we have criticisms for Israel or of Israel, it's coming. For example, for me, it's coming from a military perspective.
Yeah.
I will fully admit, yes, I was just a lowly enlisted corporal. I was a non-commissioned officer. I wasn't a battalion commander. You know, I didn't go to all the schools that they went to and everything like that. But I do know land warfare. Okay,
Yeah.
and I do read. I've studied.
Yes.
It does make me an expert. Fully admit that. However, comma, Israel is not a good military partner, and this war in Iran is a perfect example of why they aren't. You know, like we were discussing earlier, the very first ceasefire that we got with Iran, where we took like a pause for like 2 weeks, I think, and Trump said like, "Hey, we're going to take a 2 week pause. We won't be bombing any. We won't be attacking any critical infrastructure, any power plants, you know, water, blah 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 blah. As good faith, blah blah blah. You know, we won't do that." Iran's like, "Okay, cool. We'll meet you halfway." 15 minutes later, what happened? Israel attacked critical infrastructure. That's not a good ally. Matter of fact, that's a bad ally because they're purposely subverting our efforts in Iran because they want a specific outcome. They want like I believe he's their national, basically their national defense guy or national defense minister or something like that. I don't know his last name. It's Gvir. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay.
He flat out said, like, we'll oppose any deal with Iran if it's not good for Israel. Now, to a certain extent, I can empathize with him because, hey, if Trump sells out Israel, like, oh, hey, like, just, you can do whatever you want to Israel, just don't do anything for us. Okay, that's bad. We shouldn't be doing that. I get that.
Yeah.
But you're setting preconditions on any deal with Iran if you don't get everything that you want. That's not how this works. There's concessions at both sides of the table. I mean, you have to do that. Israel is not a good military partner. They just aren't. Plain and simple.
So it's like, having a co-pilot with say you're in your car, you have a steering wheel, your passenger who's a co-pilot has a steering wheel. You say, don't turn left. What do? They do a hard.
Yep.
Dang.
They turn left. It's like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Again, I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not. If they want to fight Iran on their own and do a full-blown war with Iran on their own, go for it. By all means. Again, I'm not paying for it. I'm not supporting it. I'm not taking any part of it. I'm not gonna give you tankers and give you fuel. You do that. You
So
have the capability to do that.
We have a comment here saying President Trump does nothing that's not in our best interest, period. So I'll put that up on screen here.
That is not in our best interest. I would respectfully and calmly disagree.
So as there's those recent elections that happened in Kentucky, where Massie lost to Ed Gilrain, I want to play us a few videos in these regards. And this is actually, it's going to probably tick off some people. But you know what? I need people again to step away from that political grasp that they have on their letter that they hold. Step away, step back from that and take a good look, because, is this money that is overcoming our Constitution is my first question. And that's probably my only question when it comes to this. So I want to play a quick little video from Alex Jones, actually.
The way I've looked up Massey's voting record for years. When I hear he did this, he did that, it's never true. He voted against the transgender stuff in schools. They lied and said he voted. I have the votes right here. I'm going to show you. He's the most pro-Second Amendment person in Congress with his votes. He has one of the most conservative. His record is basically like Ron Paul's. He's Ron Paul 2.0. His voting record is basically identical to Ron Paul. And they're calling him a Democrat.
Yeah, get that. They're calling him a Democrat.
He said it perfectly.
Yeah.
Trump is absolutely batshit crazy by calling Massie the worst congressman in history. And he, again, goes and endorses Lindsey Graham, who's if you want to call anybody a rhino, that's him. That's him. He's backing Lindsey Graham, who is just a train wreck for conservatism. Yeah. Every time Massie gets on, is able to speak, he always says, I want to do things for President Trump as long as it's constitutional and it's conservative. Yeah. Again, everybody wants to say, like, the big beautiful bill and all the stuff that they've done so far. It's added $2 trillion to the deficit. That is not conservative. That is not fiscally conservative. That is not good for the country. Every single conservative, I mentioned this before, in 2012 during the presidential, the Republican National Convention, they put the debt clock up there and had it live. Everyone's like, we're going to fix this. We're going to do something about it. They didn't do shit. They made it worse. They made it absolutely worse. Every single administration, every single one, Republican and Democrat, since Jimmy Carter, at least as far as back as I can remember, has outspent their previous administration. So Trump has outspent Obama, then Biden outspent Trump. Now Trump's outspending Biden. The government spending has gone up. The deficit has gone up. The debt has gone up.
Yeah,
that's not good for this country.
Right.
That's not. You can argue that the big beautiful bill had some good things in it. Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Yeah,
I'm sure it absolutely did. Just like I referenced last time, the Gun Owners Protection Act that Reagan signed. Yeah, it's really good stuff in there. But it had the freaking Hughes Amendment, which banned machine guns or banned the manufacture and importation of machine guns. So you cannot look at this from a perspective of he's either right or he's wrong.
Yeah.
He's neither. He's right a lot of the times, and he's wrong a lot of the times. It's not a monolith.
Right.
You got to open your eyes and look at things on an individual basis. Every time that Massie votes, he publicly says, "I'm voting with the Constitution."
Yes.
What do you think?
So, we've all seen some of those videos with Ted Cruz, how he smashes a cigar on this large stack of papers, saying this is crap because this little Green New Deal or this little bad piece of the this bill has, you know, something hidden in there from the opposing side. And pretty much Massie did that in a more respectful way. He just took care of it on the floor versus smashing a cigar into it and, you know, putting it on blast. He just took care of the people.
Come on, smoke the cigar.
Hey, you want me to get you a stack of papers? There you go. But that's what Massie was doing, but just not in such a dramatic way like Ted Cruz was doing. And I wish I had one of those videos because last time I saw one of those videos was probably like 3 years ago or so. Yeah, so I want to play another video. Like I said, we got a lot of videos here. So this next one is Thomas Massie explains that FISA 702 is just the tip of the iceberg.
We're introducing a brand new bill that's long needed. Unfortunately, it's needed because there have been so many erosions of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy. You know, there's a robust discussion right now about the FISA 702 program, but really that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of infringement on the Fourth Amendment. There's so many other laws and Supreme Court decisions that have impinged on your right to privacy. For instance, the Bank Secrecy Act, the Right to Financial Privacy Act, the Patriot Act, all of these have great sounding names, but all of them created so-called loopholes in the Constitution. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, not a euphemism, but misnamed because it's got foreign in it. It's used to go after Americans. Secret applications of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. I've been in a skiff last week where I saw 2 secret rulings, interpretations of FISA law of how the government has created additional loopholes to spy on you that I'm not even allowed to tell you. These are classified as top secret.
So, Americans, he was protecting your constitutional rights and values. Wake the fuck up. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
It pisses me off. You know, oh, he's a rhino. He's working for these people and that people. No, he's protecting the better interests of the United States of America. Are you fighting for the money? The backs getting him out? It obviously showed. Or no, actually AIPAC showed that. You know, there should be more people standing up to, you know, fight for our Constitution instead of saying, oh, he's a rhino. Screw that. That's all I'm going to say right there. That just
it's perfect. You know, it goes down to credibility. You know, Trump wants things done. I understand it. I want things done too. As a matter of fact, I'm actually probably more pissed off that stuff's not getting done than Trump.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I'm the guy who's being affected by all this crap. You're the ones who are all being affected by this crap.
Yeah.
And you're attacking Tom Massie, who he just demonstrated is a pure, principled, constitutional conservative, as everyone should be. If we had a Congress full of Tom Massies, we'd be living in a whole nother world right now.
Well, a whole nother world that's going to be better for the Americans because it'll be more American versus
and that's my point. It's, you know, Alex Jones. He's like, hey, this guy's pro-gun as they come. Yes, he is. He owns machine guns because because he's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he is Second Amendment through and through. Where's Trump on the Second Amendment? I mean, he's, you know, Harmeet Dillon and the Second Amendment Task Force and the DOJ, awesome. This is phenomenal. Great. Good job. They should be commended. And he's done, his administration has done a lot of things for the Second Amendment. And I concede that and I celebrate that. But again, when you have guys like Tom Massie, who on the record, he is espousing pro Second Amendment, pro First Amendment, pro Fourth Amendment. The three amendments to our Bill of Rights that are constantly, continuously suppressed and beaten down every single day are the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments. Every single day. Every single day. And I don't hear many people in Congress pointing that out. Tom Massie's been screaming it from the rooftop. Rand Paul, Ron Paul.
So I want to put up another little video clip. I believe this is from Rand Paul, and he's talking about the Patriot Act was sold to us as a tool to keep us safe. But
Yep.
The Act was begotten the most unpatriotic of ideas, that liberty can be exchanged for security. The history of the Patriot Act shows that the exchange is a poor one. As our liberty wanes and wastes away, we find that the promises of security were an illusion. The history of the Patriot Act is really a history of how power corrupts and how bias and malfeasance grow when power is unchecked. The spies who run these surveillance programs then lied for years and years to us. One of the most notorious of these liars was James Clapper. When cross-examined under oath by Senator Wyden, James Clapper denied that the government was collecting data on millions of Americans.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
A month later, the whistleblower, Edward Snowden, revealed that Clapper had lied. Snowden revealed that Clapper and others were using the Patriot Act to spy on virtually every American. Snowden revealed that the secret FISA court was allowing a single court order to command the collection of millions of Americans' personal phone data.
I'm going to leave it right there because, Tom Massie was defending.
It's worse.
It does. It does. Yeah. I think I put that link into the show into the chat on Facebook. I think Facebook or YouTube and Rumble will see that as well. But I'll definitely put it in the show description after. Yeah, there's a lot that Massie was helping defend. You like when all these different entities are listening to you. You talk on the phone, you're not sure if you're being spied on or not. I don't like that idea.
No, I hate that idea. And for all the, I'll admit it. I was all up in arms when that Snowden thing came about. I was like, F that guy. Fuck. F that guy. I was mainly concerned about him putting troops in danger with him publishing a lot of videos and everything like that. And I was kind of really ignorant to no, actually he uncovered a massive surveillance scheme that was being used.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, hey man, I'm thinking Snowden's a good guy actually. Well, I can forgive the fact that what he did was illegal because he exposed a massive illegal government operation. And when I say massive, it's bigger than the size of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Massive. Yeah. And Rand Paul and Tom Massie, albeit maybe a few outliers here and there in the Senate and the House, have been the only ones who have been publicly saying this needs to end. This needs to end. And conservatives, for the most part, are eerily silent on this issue. And I'm coming from a place of a former police officer, so I know a thing or two when it comes to warrants and all that stuff like that, and illegal searches and everything like that. Yeah, people used to get pissed off. I had dead to rights. I had a warrant, or I had probable cause to search and everything like that. And I found people lost their shit. Oh, you can't look in here. Yeah, I can't actually. I can't. And to feel that sense of violation. But now it's done by the federal government on a daily basis on most Americans. And if you say a certain thing, if you wear a certain article of clothing, if you do a combination of things, you can be put on the no-fly list without being told,
right?
And without being able to get off. You know what I mean? all this stuff. And again, FISA was used to go after Trump.
Yeah.
It was used to go after Trump. You have to, I mean, I can't do the thinking for you on this one. And again, we touched on this earlier. We get like everybody makes fun of this adage that you never did make important decisions when you're angry or when you're upset, it's whatever.
Yeah.
9/11, we were pissed off
Yes.
for months. I mean, for up to probably like a good year, we were, I mean, our mentality, especially in the military, like in the Marine Corps,
Yeah.
we wanted to put heads on spikes. I don't
Oh, yeah.
care. I will kill all of you. I don't
Boiling.
give a shit.
I get it.
Geneva Convention doesn't mean shit to me anymore. I want to stack bodies like nobody's business.
Right.
I want revenge, like plain and simple. And for the most part, most Americans were like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So when the Patriot Act came up for a vote, we're like, yeah, everybody like, yeah, do it. I don't care. Patriot Act, good name. Let's pass it. And it's like, this is bad. This is really fucking bad. Warrantless searches, like all these new courts and everything like that, secret courts, it's like, this is not good. This is not good.
To
And
be
we did it to
searched.
ourselves. And it was 2 months after 9/11 when we did it.
Yeah. So I want to play another little video here. Thomas Massie is one of the few protecting our liberties in Congress. So why get rid of the guy is my question.
I rise in opposition to this clean reauthorization of FISA, and in particular to this short-term reauthorization of FISA. A short-term infringement of the Constitution is still an infringement of the Constitution. How long has the Senate had to act on this? Is this an emergency? Is this something we haven't known about? No, I appreciate the work of my dear colleague and chairman of our committee, Mr. Jordan, on this issue for so many years of trying to get warrants before Americans are spied upon. And in fact, my colleague Zoe Lofgren and I on the other side of the aisle over a decade ago were successful in passing an amendment to FISA during the appropriations process that would have prohibited funds to be used to use the FISA program without a warrant. What happened to that amendment? It died in the Senate. They've had over a decade to work on this. And what does FISA stand for? Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. This, when it was originated, was never meant to be used to surveil Americans or to search through databases for their information. It was.
So I want to leave it right there. I'll put the link in the comments, but I think that's what gets a bunch of Republicans' feathers ruffled, is that he worked with Zoe Lofgren, and I believe Zoe Lofgren, is Santa Clara County, California. So he worked with a Democrat to protect the Constitution. It shouldn't matter what party you work with. Protecting the Constitution is the ultimate goal, correct?
It is the ultimate goal. And let's be clear. Democrats, to use your adage, Democrats are like a broken clock. They're right twice a day.
Yeah.
And on this issue, they are right. And you know what? If it takes Tom Massie to break the aisle and go get some Democrats, like, why are you talking shit about that? You should, instead of blindly following your stupid. Okay, look. Instead of blindly following President Trump and doing everything that he says and repeating everything that he says, do your goddamn research. And for once, open your minds on this, especially when it comes to this issue. Massie is right. He is 100% right. I'm telling you, he's 100% right on this one. And, what do we have to do to convince people? Like, you have to look at everything on a case-by-case issue. On a case-by-case issue. This is not black or white. On this issue, black and white. It's constitutional or it's not constitutional. Black or white. Right or wrong.
Correct.
And just like you said, a temporary infringement on your constitutional rights is still an infringement on your constitutional rights.
Absolutely.
You can't do that. That is illegal. Courts throw out that crap all the time. All the time. I didn't personally have a case, but when I was on the department, I was in court for one of my cases, and another case from another deputy was being heard. And basically the search of the case, circumstances of the case, where he did a T-stop on this probationer, this white chick. She got hooked for possession of meth, right? She's a tweaker. His probable cause to stop was she wasn't wearing her seatbelt, right?
Yeah.
Good stop. Good search. Good seizure, good arrest. So they went through the whole pretrial thing, like, yeah, they're doing this thing, everything's all said and done. And the public defender was very quiet. And it was very weird because public defenders aren't very quiet. He didn't really ask very many questions, and he had a smile on his face too. I'm like, he's got something up his sleeve. I don't know what it is. So the judge's like, all right, are we good? Does the state have anything? No, the state's good. Okay, defense. First words out of his mouth. Yeah, motion to dismiss, fruit of the poisonous tree. That's all he said. And he's like, and they all laughed. Like, what's your Fourth Amendment issue? He's like, my client was on private property. The vehicle code section doesn't apply. She wasn't on the road when he saw the violation. She was parked, and she was in a parking lot, and the parking lot was not equipped with the proper signage to enforce the vehicle code. And as soon as he finished that, the DA's like flipping through the vehicle code book. He's like looking at it. He's like, damn. And he knew he lost. And case dismissed. Fruit from the poisonous tree.
Yeah.
Illegal search and seizure. Yeah. It's still illegal. When it's illegal, it's illegal. Even if it's good.
I know.
Even if the arrest that comes from it was good, you still did it illegally.
Right.
Case dismissed.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that all the time. I have a J6er friend who was searched for, against what he was actually being charged for. But terrible situations that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I want to play another video. And before I play this video, I don't like the word bipartisan. It should be nonpartisan, because protecting the Constitution should be all American and all American right to protect the Constitution.
100%.
But the caption of this is today in the House Judiciary Committee, I voted for a bipartisan amendment to ensure federal officers don't violate American citizens' rights.
From Kentucky is recognized. I might have a unique perspective here. Unlike the Democrats, I support this bill, support the underlying purpose of it, but I'm interested in this amendment. I was very interested when Mr. McClintock reserved a point of order. I thought maybe we would debate whether this is the right place to have the debate on whether you need a warrant to enter into a residence. This debate does belong on an authorization of DHS bill. The problem is we haven't done that. We're not doing that. We haven't done that in a long, long time. And we should, that's where this debate belongs. There would be an opportunity to have this debate on the spending bill, which is stalled right now, the DHS spending bill. I think that would be a good place to put it, a limitation amendment that says none of the funds hereby appropriated shall be used to enter a residence without a judicial warrant. We can sort of, any one of us could write that amendment right here now. The problem is we've had so many closed rules from our Rules Committee that I don't think they're going to allow us to have that debate there either. So it turns out this is the place to have the debate. And my party didn't raise a point of order, so let's have the debate. Anticipating this debate, I asked Secretary Noem yesterday what her opinion was on judicial warrants versus administrative warrants when you enter into a residence. And I believe she tried to assuage my concerns. She said that out of the thousands of arrests and incidents, this was only an issue in 28 of the arrests. Now, if I'd had more time, I would have asked two questions. Well, why even try those 28 arrests? Or number two, could you have completed 26 of those arrests if you had gotten a judicial warrant? Or maybe all of them. Was that an impediment in that very small number of cases that she claims that this is actually a debate? So with, keeping in mind what Secretary Noem said, which is this is a very rare occurrence, I actually don't think this amendment is a poison pill. This is another test that I apply before I vote for an amendment that, I'm sorry to the members of the other side of the aisle, have to kind of look with a little bit of scrutiny when you offer amendments to make sure these are not poison pill amendments, because like I said, I support the underlying bill. I feel like a few of these earlier amendments that say, well, except in cases where you violate the Constitution. I understand that's just kind of a dilatory amendment that doesn't mean much, but in this case, I think you have a real amendment. I think this might be the only place we can have the debate, unfortunately, because everything's so closed.
So I want to end it right there. We talked about this on our show last week about how Tom Massie voted no because there's certain underlying things that went against the Constitution. And we heard him, in his own way say that. Yeah. So the amendments or, written portions don't make sense in regards to the U.S. Constitution. And I already dropped the link into the chat. So those that are able to see the chat, then right on. Again, why vote against the Constitution? Why go against it, period? Again, this is a nonpartisan issue. Nonpartisan. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I'm a registered Republican. And I'm just like, why is this happening? As I was watching it unfold a little over a week ago. And it just, it's frightening as an American to see that happen. It's frightening to see foreign aid, take over an election.
It's very frustrating to see that. And again, you said it right. The Constitution should not be bipartisan. It shouldn't be partisan. It shouldn't be bipartisan. The Constitution is a Constitution.
Yeah.
And we are so within the last, 6-ish years, we'll bring it up. I brought it up before. Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
When the Supreme Court decided that Roe v. Wade was unconstitutional, rightly so, they said it was unconstitutional for a constitutional reason. It wasn't a pro-life decision. It was a 10th Amendment violation. This Roe v. Wade, abortion is a states' rights issue because it's not in the Constitution. It falls to the states. And then Lindsey Graham comes out, and again, this is why he's not a constitutional conservative. This is why he's not a conservative at all. He comes out and he files a national abortion ban bill, which I think everybody would agree, destroyed Republicans' chances of retaking the House in a massive wave. You cannot violate the Constitution as long as it gets what you want. That is not how government works. And Republicans need to get their heads out of their fucking ass and get that lesson learned in their head. The Constitution is not supposed to be violated. It's not supposed to be violated in any shape or way or form. And if you propose a law that's unconstitutional, then get your ass out of Congress because you don't know your job and you obviously don't give a damn about the Constitution. And anybody who supports Republicans, who is a Republican or a conservative or votes Republican and supports a federal overreach that is blatantly unconstitutional should not be allowed to vote because you're a fucking idiot.
I well agree with that, Matt. Because people lack educating themselves before voting. And that was a great deal of what happened with this recent election there in Kentucky. Is the better lack of educating themselves. And I've seen the lack of education. I was, one of those ignorant people in the past as well. I smartened up over these last 12 years.
As have I.
I don't want to say 12 years because, there's some propositions in California and I'm like, well, what do I vote on? Look at the title. No, the title is wrong on some of these things that are being thrown at us.
Perfect example. I think I mentioned this before. If I did, this is a perfect example of that. When Prop 47 passed in California. That's
what I was talking about.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. I have spoken to so many conservatives who voted yes on Prop 47 because they stopped reading at the title of the bill. Prop 47 was illegally renamed by guess who? Kamala Harris. It was named the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act.
Yep.
Now, if you read the title and if it was just the title, you'd be like,
sounds great.
That's a no-brainer. I want safe neighborhoods and schools. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm voting yes. Hell yeah. Right. But no, they voted yes for it because they stopped reading at the title.
Keep reading. There's that little tiny line in there, like Massie was doing. See that little line and say no. Until that's taken out, it's a solid no.
Yeah, and look, I apologize for my explosive rant. I try not to do that. I honestly do try and not to do that. But this is a very passionate issue for me, and it should be for everybody here. I know it's a passionate issue for you too, Tim.
It is.
And this is the whole reason why we have the show. And at the end of the day, it's important to me because, again, I've said this before, and I'm not trying to make this about me again.
No.
But I served my country to repay the debt that I believe I owed for all the rights that I had that I was given from birth, right? And I truly, truly cherish the Constitution. Just like you said, Tim, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was not the same conservative as I am now.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No problem. No problem. I support the Constitution, absolutely. But I was like, yeah, we'll do this and we'll do that. But as time goes on and everything like that, when you allow that attitude to percolate, you allow your representatives in Congress and the Senate to violate the Constitution because it benefits your agenda. There needs to be one litmus test as far as a legislator goes or an elected official goes. Is it constitutional? Yes or no? And you can't really trust, other people, like take the county of LA, the county attorney, when they passed or when they decided to put a ballot a proposition on the ballot a couple of years ago that would give the Board of Supervisors the authority to fire the sheriff if they didn't like him, that was unconstitutional.
Correct.
And the attorney said, no, we're good. And it passed.
Wow.
Oh,
who was that attorney anyway? He's originally from San Francisco. I can't remember the attorney's name.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But I wish there was a way that bills, when they get introduced, they have to go through, I hate this word, nonpartisan. That a legal process, like, is this constitutional? Does this meet constitutional muster? Yes or no? Before it even gets voted on.
Right.
If it, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't even know how that would happen, but I wish there was a way to make it happen.
Oh, I forgot to download a video from Jefferson State of Mind, a really great group of folks up in Northern California. They actually shared, it came up as a memory of mine on Facebook, I believe, yesterday. How California passes laws that are, violating children's rights. It's just absolutely disgusting. And, I keep pointing at California because that's my native state. California is just, it's a cesspool. I'll just put it that way. It's not all beaches and glam like Baywatch.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really a cesspool, not beaches and glam like Baywatch.
No, not at all. There's a can't remember his name. He's still in the assembly. A Democrat. He publicly touted in a public hearing. He said it. We don't care if it's constitutional in California. We pass that anyways because it doesn't matter.
Wow. That guy should be fired on the spot.
Tarred and feathered. Tarred and feathered.
Absolutely.
We need to make that great again.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 more videos to play, and then we'll wrap up shortly after. So this one, I wish I had cued the Snoop Dogg little song, da 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 da, with the sunglasses, because this is a classic moment right here. And Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana usually does these great little things. Well, Massie actually did something that's really hilarious there on the Senate floor.
Speaker, I have an amendment at the desk to change the title of the bill to a bill to kick the can down the road and for other purposes.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Amendment offered by Mr. Massie of Kentucky. Amend the title so as to read, a bill to kick the can down the road and for other purposes.
Yes, the recorder has to read that back, which That made me laugh when
Yeah.
I saw that, so I had to bring that up for today. Yeah, good stuff, Massie. I love it. I love it. I'm surprised I hadn't called out to see if I can get Massie on our show. I think that'd be fabulous.
Oh, you totally should. You totally should.
I think I'll make that phone call or write that email or whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah. that was hilarious because the recorder had to read it back. I was like, yeah, that's a moment right
awesome.
there.
It's awesome.
I wish I had the Snoop Dogg sunglasses and that little na 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 song to it. Oh, hilarious. I have another video that's going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm going to do it anyway because you know what? Again, protecting the American people, protecting the American people's rights needs to be brought up front, and it's going to piss off a lot of people. But you know what? I don't give a fuck.
A leading proponent of changes in how the Justice Department handles the Epstein files, and then, of course, has become a pretty vocal critic of the war with Iran. So the two things that really set him off, or that he's most sensitive to, you've been one of his lead critics.
Well, you know, that's how you drain the swamp. You bring transparency. And I did lead the fight to get the Epstein Files Transparency Act passed. It eventually passed 427-1 in the House and 100-0 in the Senate. And then the president signed it. He could have vetoed it, but he decided to sign my signature legislation. And it's since resulted in the prince losing his title, the British ambassador to the United States has been arrested, former prime ministers, and the CEO of the World Economic Forum have all been taken out by the Epstein files. They're trying to avoid any kind of accountability in the United States. They know if I stick with this, eventually some of our miscreants, perverts, and co-conspirators are going to go to jail.
Yeah. That's what set off a lot of people. A lot of people got set off because of that. You know, it's quite interesting to see that, you know, people again are not fighting for the rights of the American citizens. And then again, you know, money over Constitution. I titled, you know, I put that into the show description because it is very accurate of what's been happening here in the United States. I mean, we look at candidates run. It's like, what's the first thing we see? Well, how much money have they raised? And then after that, then they find ways to peck them down.
Yeah, and again, that's the only litmus test when it comes to running. And you see it all the time. You know, I saw it all the time. I saw it all the time when I was on the LAGOP. It was, how much money do you have in your bank? And again, I understand why they're doing that. I understand why they're asking because it's necessary. But the fact that it's necessary is just shameful.
Yeah. Now, in recent history, I believe it was Glenn Youngkin in the state of Virginia, a truck driver. He actually sat down at, you know, coffee shops and talked to the people as one-on-one.
Yeah.
And that's how he actually won that, which is wonderful. We need more people like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, we don't see in-person town halls. We might see some virtuals. We might see some videos here and there on, you know, oh, great talking point. Yeah, they have some chops, but do they actually perform?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, you know, what I, you know, fear a lot when it comes to a lot of elections that happen. And yeah, I don't even want to go off on the election process. You know, every time I hear, oh, protect our democracy, and I actually hear it from Republicans as well, that gets under my skin. We live in a constitutional republic, and we only have one thing. That's the democratic process, which is our elections. And that appears to be totally, as you all know, folks, rigged. We need to get rid of the machines, bring back some temporary jobs, get those poll workers back, and, you know, bring back the hand count.
Yeah.
That's my strong stance. And I'm staying with it.
Good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got definitely gone over, which is all right by me. We got our point across, I hope. What do you think, Matt?
I agree. I
hope people watch with an open mind and, you know, take into consideration that the Constitution should be over money, not the other way around as it has been. All right, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow Tim Holliday TV. That's TIMHOLLIDAY TV. Find us on Rumble, YouTube. They kicked me off X, unfortunately, but I was on there. But I believe Matt's streaming on X right now, so that's a wonderful thing. I'll put his
Yes, I'm streaming on X.
I'll put his where you can find Matt in actually the show description. Let me see if I actually have that ready. No, I don't. Anyways, I'll find that in a few minutes here and get that up. Actually, if you want to say that, Matt, what's your follow on X?
Is Matt Matt of Mystery. So capital M, Matt of, and Mystery with a capital M. Matt of Mystery.
Matt of Mystery on X. So Twitch TV, which is a video gamer platform. Facebook, unfortunately, deletes the videos after 30 days. So I prefer different platforms. You can also listen to us on iHeart, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Be sure, ladies, definitely to check out this Thursday show as we talk about vanity versus health. So tune in Thursday. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen. Ciao.
Have a good one, guys and gals.